Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining me today, everybody, for another Tuesday discussion. Here on Tuesdays, we do like to create content that comes directly in response to comments that we get either in Patreon, YouTube, or Instagram. So if you are interested in recommending a topic for a future week, you know where to reach us. Now, today's topic is coming from one of my best whiskey friends and oldest whiskey friends, DJ Beacon. And his comment is pretty simple. Jeff, make Scotch content. That's it. He just wants me to make Scotch content. And he didn't ask me any particular question. It was just make some Scotch content. So this is going to be the Scotch content. Now, what I'm going to go through as I go through today's video, it's going to be kind of twofold. One of my whiskey resolutions for 2023 was to drink more Scotch. So what the heck is holding me back? We'll talk about that a little bit. And then while we're going through that, I'm going to finally try a sample that DJ Beacon provided me of the Bunnahabhain 12-year cask strength from 2022, one of the most anticipated scotches that I wanted to try. He provided me a sample like 8 months ago, and I was waiting for the right occasion to try it. Well, this is it. This is the occasion. So thank you for joining me today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. So I'm going to pour some of the sample here. I'm going to try not to use all of it. We have a sample of the Bunnahabhain 12-year. This is the 2022 cask strength release. It's coming in at 56.6% ABV. So a little over 113 proof for those that can do math on the fly. And I have been looking forward to this particular scotch for a while. I tried to get my hands on one and just didn't happen. Now, the reason that I am excited about this particular scotch is that when it does come to scotch, one of my favorite scotches in general that is readily available and one that I recommend to bourbon friends who are looking to try a scotch is the non-cask strength version of the Bunnahabhain 12-year. Now, this is a Islay Scotch, but it is not peated. So it's 12-year. This version of it is 46.3%. So the cask strength version is 10% higher, essentially. So as I kind of let that air out, fill the room a little bit here, I'll put that sample off to the side. Hey, let's just chat just for a little bit. Why not more Scotch? What the heck is going on? Well, it was a whiskey resolution for 2023. Drink more Scotch. At the beginning of the year, I thought, hey, this is going to be the year that I get into Scotch and I peel back a little bit when it comes to bourbons, when it comes to ryes, when it comes to American whiskeys in general. Now we're at the end of the year and that did not happen. So why did that not happen? Well, first off, I must say, I am a bourbon and rye drinker. I like the bold, rich, deep flavors. I like the deep caramels, the butterscotch, the vanillas. Give me all those fruits. I want it to taste like banana pudding if it's Jack Daniels. I want those rich, rich dessert flavors. That is what I love about bourbons and ryes in the first place, is the sweetness, is the over-the-top sweetness, is the dessert flavors that I can pick apart as if it's some decadent dessert after a steak restaurant dinner. That's what I'm in for it. And Scotch doesn't provide the same experience. Scotch provides something that's more subtle, not just due to the typically lower ABV, but even in the general flavor profile. I find it more subtle. It tends to be on more of the salty range, the more savory range. The fruits can be there, but maybe not like a really bombastic fruit that you can get in the bourbons, more of a subtle fruit as well. I tend to also think of bourbon as something not quite over the top on flavors, but something that is relaxing, calming. It takes me to a place. It takes me to the sea. It takes me to a particular point in time or a memory versus just a delicious dessert of some awesome lava cake. So that's number one on why I don't drink scotch that often. It's just when I don't think about it, I reach for a bourbon. Also, the fact the bottle ratio behind me, I'd say maybe 5% of the bottles that I have are scotch. It might be even less than that. I mean, that's the only scotch shelf in this whole place, whereas you have bourbon shelves, and then there's an identical shelf that's filled with bourbon over here. And then this whole bar that you're resting underneath is filled with bourbon as well. So, yes, I buy a lot of bourbon. And then that goes into point number two. If I were to buy more scotch, there's not more whiskey budget. If anything, there is a wife that's poking me about the existing whiskey budget that I got to figure out how to fine tune a little bit. So, if I were to get into scotch, it has to come at the expense of buying any bourbon or rye. It's a substitute type of thing. So, I really got to commit to the scotch side and put my funds there for a while to dive deeper into the scotch. And once again, baseline habits, I haven't been as readily willing to do that. I keep getting excited about new bourbon releases and spending all of my money on those releases and then reviewing it for the channel. So then going full circle into that entire enterprise, the other reason I haven't been drinking scotch or at least reviewing scotch on the channel is I honestly don't feel as comfortable reviewing scotches as I do the bourbons. When I'm reviewing a bourbon, I've got a pretty good baseline. And when we're going through our score sheet, it's like, oh, I'm sipping on something like, okay, that's a 7. Oh, that one's a bit elevated. I'll give that one an 8. Oh, that one's really deficient here for these reasons. I'm going to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a 5. And that's how all the scores come about. But I have that kind of innate baseline of my expectations, of my cumulative experiences, but I don't have as many reps on the Scotch side, aside from many of the samples that DJ Beacon has provided me, or in some cases, when Top Shelf Dustin gives me some very nice pours. So then ultimately, I just don't feel comfortable doing scotch yet. I need more reps, but I'm not getting more reps because I'm not buying the scotch because then that would replace the bourbon. And then we go round and round in a circle that was 2023 with me not drinking scotch, even to the point where I've been hanging on to samples for solidly 8 months that I should have drank long ago, but I just haven't been drinking them because I've been waiting for the right opportunity to drink them. And those opportunities don't always come. Long-winded answer, but maybe 2024 will be the year of scotch for me finally. I mean, I actually started my whiskey journey on scotch, so maybe that comes full circle too. Let's get into this Bunnahabhain Cask Strength. I'm excited. I really, really, really wanted to try this. That's why DJ Beacon sent me the sample. And now here we are, finally in this moment, and I get to see if it lives up to my expectations based on my love for the non-cask strength version. So thank you for joining me this far. Cheers, whiskey friends. Yeah, see, I mean, it's a lovely nose, but it's a subtle nose, It's not going to be as in your face. The oak profile is one of the things that immediately sticks out to me. If you haven't gotten to a lot of scotches, a 12-year scotch is not going to be the same as a 12-year bourbon, especially with that oak profile. Here it comes across more as this seasoned cedar. If you think about the plank that you might use on the grill to do some salmon on, something like that. I mean, the salt on this thing, the brininess of this thing is immense. I mean, even beyond what my expectations were, um, based on the cast strength. Based on the nose, it's almost like the extra ABV really elevated the degree of salt that I'm getting. There is a caramel there, but it's not quite like a caramel syrup or a caramel candy. It's almost like a sea salt caramel taffy, bringing me back to, thoughts of, the various beaches that have the Laffy Taffies. Um, Gosh, I can't think of the name of it right now. Hilton Head. That's what I was going for. Yeah, there's like a baseline savoriness to it. And then I'd almost equate some of it to a outer skin of a pretzel. Once again, leading me back to the salt. There's a hint of cherry, but then I immediately start swinging right back into pear. So maybe it's more pears that were soaked in the cherry juice. I think that's all I got on the nose. Let's go on the flavor. Oh man. Tell you what, that matches the nose. Um, Gosh, let's go through back what I said. So once again, the sea salt, the saltiness of this thing and the savoriness of this thing is immense. So not getting that over the top sweetness that I'm talking about. There is no decadent dessert that I'm going to be describing. That Laffy Taffy, not the Laffy Taffy, the Hilton Head sea salt taffy, probably a caramel flavor. That still holds, and so does the skin of the pretzel. And that cherry's there, but then it drifts into the pear. And that's what I'm going to be getting mostly on the fruit side of it. All right, one more sip. Let's see if I got anything else here. Yeah, and that pear really steps up. Spiced pear. Spiced pear and stewed fruits all over that finish. Man, that is salty and savory, though. Ooh, it's so salty that I'm like puckering even. I wasn't actually mentally prepared with the degree of brininess and saltiness that this was going to bring today. So it traveled down a different road than I was expecting. Still very, very good. Love to just be, gosh, sitting probably outdoors on a nice, cool fall evening. Maybe that's what I'll do with the rest of this sample. I'll go sit outdoors right after this and drink the rest and do some more notes on it. But see, even now doing this with you, I wouldn't know where to score it. I would know where to score it relative to, I guess, bourbons and ryes and all the scoring that I've put into those, but relative to other scotches, I just wouldn't know where to put this one. And that's what bugs me. So that's where that's my own problem. That's where I gotta take care of that deficiency, and then I would feel more comfortable doing Scotch reviews. Though, frankly, gosh, how many reps is that gonna take? That would take a very accelerated course and a lot of dedication to do the same thing on Scotch that I do on the other ones. But hey, maybe I'll get there. 2024 resolutions. Here we come. You already clearly know one of the entries, Jeff, drink more Scotch. So thank you for joining me on today's Scotch content here to take care of DJ Beacon's comment for at least a couple months until he tells me again, Jeff, do more Scotch content. I will try. So let me know in the comments where you are on your Scotch journey, what some of your favorite Scotches are, and if you haven't gotten into Scotch yet, what are some of the things that are holding you back? Love to get specific, similar to the reasons that I was telling you earlier. Do you just not know where to start? Do you not like the flavor profile? I want to know, and I bet you people in the comments will be helping you out depending on your answer there. But everybody, be nice in those comments too, depending on what people say. So thank you for joining me for today's discussion, everybody. If you have anything else you'd like us to handle on future Tuesdays, you can leave that in the comments as well. Well, until next time, we'll catch you later, whiskey friends. Goodbye, everybody.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello